Commissioner Promise is absent. We can still do business as that is a quorum. I will begin with pledge of allegiance if you'd like to join. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll get started with the park bid. Mr. Schneider?
Yes, we do have a representative, Kiefer, here, and I know that they had taken the bid originally under advisement. I think as may have somewhat been indicated at the last meeting, that bid is over the budget that was set, and I think the recommendation would be for the board to officially reject all bids, that being that one bid, and then the park board will be meeting to determine what its next steps are in the process. I've spoken out of terms for you.
Any other comments?
I knew that the bid would come in over because of everything with COVID and stuff and materials. And I know Dan has had discussions with the firm that did submit a bid, and we've kind of identified one of the items. We under planned, I guess, for utilities. And sometimes that's not something you know until you actually go out to bid. But we definitely want to move forward with the project. It's just how will we be able to do that? Do we have to look at this, because we looked at this as phase one of the ultimate design that we have for the park, and so we may have to look at phase 1A and phase 1B. Our priorities are the campsites, because that's been something that people have been asking for a long time. They also generate income for the park, so we want to maybe be able to do that. The other thing that I would like, and maybe Sandy can help us with this question, is if we have a fundraiser or something like that, what would that entail in regards to tracking the funds and making sure that they are allocated to the park? So, looking at some of the things that maybe it's not just looking at our regular budget, but looking at some other sources of revenue so that we can initiate this project and ultimately get to what our overall plans are. Questions?
I don't think so.
The end date on this grant is July 30th of 2023, so that means all invoices have to be to DNR by that date. This grant was $250,000, and that was the max you could apply for in 2020. DNR has since raised that maximum to $500,000. So if we go into another phase, you're allowed to do 2 phases on a site within an 8-year period. So, I don't know how this is all gonna shake out at the park board meeting, but those are some other considerations.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion that we reject all bids that we received for the park work.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. So I guess we'll just see how things play out.
And we'll keep you informed. If you do have any questions or anything like that, please feel free to reach out to me. I think try to keep communications open so that you guys know where we're at, what's going on. And we know we're going to need the county's assistance. It's just as to how much we still have worked out.
All right, well, we look forward to see how that plays out, I suppose. All right, well, thank you. Highway supervisor report. Okay, the highway engineer report.
No one just left, you probably got a phone call right as you walked
Thank you.
First fiddle.
Do what?
Your first fiddle.
That's right. Move chain of command.
Nobody said he has to go second every time. I don't write it that way.
Okay, lost revenue, the highway department lost revenue. So this is not me asking, I'm just laying the numbers out so you guys know what we did. We went through, Ann and I checked this all out. The lost revenue we had based on the grant that came through that you guys received, did the math, and that's how it came out of 400, or, yeah, it's on there. I'll read it already. So we went back through and did the shortfall with the 4.1% based on 2019, added to 4.1%, and this is what we came up with. The NVH has a shortfall of 325,838.31, and local road and street had a shortfall of 48,290.68. So if you guys decided that you wanted to give out, this is what we're requesting, and I just wanted to let you know our plans is to pave hopefully 3 or 4 roads with it and put it just take it out of that, bid it out. We'll probably bid it out this fall for next spring paving is what we would do with it. So, like I said, I know you guys aren't ready, but I wanted to lay it out there. That way you guys knew what you were looking at from us, what we would be requesting. So, not really much to do there.
I know Mary's been looking at, trying to calculate some of this stuff, so I don't know where she's at, but I mean, we're supposed to look at a unit as a whole,
Right.
that's part of the issues.
See, when I read unit as a whole, I didn't know if I was reading that as this is the highway department as a whole, or is this the county's
Right,
lost
and that's
revenue?
some of the questions we
Yeah.
have, because we don't wanna lose out on revenue that we're supposed to be able to get.
Yeah, because the ASC guideline, I was reading through ASC's stuff, and I didn't know how to read that. I was looking for that. I don't think they know how to read. In my opinion, based on ASC and all their attorneys that are.
Right, I mean,
So-
we're all in the same kind of boat. but
Yeah.
You could look at it in a bunch of different ways.
But so this is what we found according to that. We did it all together first, all of our income, not our. I mean, our surtax and all that stuff is in there, but like we didn't do Key Bridge because I don't know how to factor in Key Bridge. I don't know how to do that one yet. So, but these are
You're not
numbers
supposed
that,
to use property tax, but it's part of your, you
Yeah.
gotta be able to pull those things out.
right. I know that in the frequently asked questions, roads were stayed in there. So that's infrastructure that we could use for lost revenue. So that's the reason I'm bringing it in. Like I said, I know you guys are not at this point yet, but I wanted to get this number in front of you so that way you knew what we were at.
I think Sandy has reached out to somebody to help us as a consultant, and I emailed back that we should at least get a bid from those folks so that they can help us to make sure that what you did is correct, or where you made a mistake if you did, because
We kind of wanna know how in depth we wanna go, so that's why we need to know what all we wanna do. But I know Mary's reached out to some other people as well.
I'd like to get that stuff moving so that we can get that money, get it on the streets or get it where.
This sounds horrible, but if we bid them out this year and pay them, we're gonna save a lot of money and get extended. If we wait till spring of next year when everybody else is, that's when the prices go up. So not trying to push, I promise I'm not trying to do that, but just, we do it this fall and do it for the winter, we usually save a lot of money. If we can do it, that's pressuring me, I know, so that I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that at all. Okay, now, as I ask for more money here, I'm not really asking for money yet. So our bridge crew, right now, we use wood forms, plywood with 2x4 backing as for structure. These things are lasting like 2 to 3 years, and we're running through them. And now the price of lumber has gone through the roof. It's $140 for a 4x8 form, and we carry 30 of those on our trailer at a time, plus all of our filler forms. So, $100, $75, our cheapest one at 1x4 is $75. Those are adding up pretty fast. The bridge crew did a little research on their end, and they found aluminum forms. And I gotta admit, based on what I've done after they brought it to my attention, aluminum forms would be more accurate because they're all perfectly square. 4x8 sheet of plywood, they start warping, they start moving. You gotta do a lot of filling, a lot of lifting. There's a lot of manipulating going on where we get them all squared up. Aluminum forms are gonna hold true as long as we take care of them. I'm trying to at least reach out to some suppliers. When I get more information, I'll bring them to your attention. But we're not building a bridge this summer of over 20 feet. So we're gonna save a little money there. We're gonna do a lot of rehab work, things like that. So that's gonna help save some cash for this project. But I would like to try to buy them, just bring to your attention so you guys aren't blindsided. When I give more information, I might just forward them through three emails, so that way you guys are well aware of what's going on. We can try to get that done. So that's what's going on there. The DocuSign ordinance and resolution, or / resolution. I spoke to Hancock County, which is the one that mentioned that the commissioners gave him, the highway director, who is also their county engineer, the ability to do it. But they did it through a motion and recorded in the meeting minutes. Talked to Greg about this. Neither one of us are really comfortable about doing it in this motion because you're having a hard time going back and finding it. So he mentioned resolution. I think that's probably the best idea. It's not as formal, but it's easy to find, easy to come across. So I'm trying to find verbiage for that, so we're not rewriting the wheel there and do that. So
I wouldn't have a problem with that. The aluminum form sounds like a fine idea as well.
How long do you think till aluminum starts going up to? It's only a matter of time till more and more people start switching over.
Yeah. I know it's gonna happen. I gotta get ahead of the curve before it does.
I think lumber's starting to taper off, isn't it?
It's tapering off, but it's not going
I
down.
don't know if it levels them down.
Yeah. So, you have anything for me?
Wood went down 40% last month. Too bad it went up 140, or whatever, 300% year.
Coming from a construction background, I will say that metal forms or aluminum forms, that type of thing, longevity, if they're well taken care of, those things will last a generation trying to get it if they're well taken care of. And like you said, everything is, they're square, they're true. It's just a matter of a couple of pins and your ties, and just pop them in, drive it, go, and not much maintenance to it. If they're cleaned up really well,
There's a big upfront cost. That's what I'm afraid of. There's gonna be a significant upfront cost.
and the other thing is too, we don't have a place at our current facility to even shed our wooden forms, so the weather has an adverse effect on it as well, where the aluminums will last. So,
All right.
Anything for me?
No, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Steve?
sorry I'm late, this is payback day from being on vacation last week, so. That was your fourth. Not bad, not bad.
Thank you.
Okay, applications for the open positions of District 3 excavator operator and District 2 driver are in. Because I was on vacation last week, I'm gonna take this week to go through the applications, kind of narrow them down. And I'd like to look to get an interview scheduled for the open positions possibly next week. So we'll be in touch and we'll get a date.
I will be out of town until the 15th.
Until the
Well,
15th.
actually, I'll be out of town until the 16th. We get back late on the 15th. So
Okay.
I don't know if Elmer or Chad might be available for this round if you need it done before then.
Okay. Yeah, let me, so you'll be back by July 16th? Okay. If we can do it sooner, Chad, would you be interested or?
Yeah, we just keep me up to date, see how that goes in your review of them and get them set up.
Okay.
Chip seal overlays and repair. We've had a really productive period with the chip seal crew. Today they're finishing up on Crystal Road North, and they're moving on to 900 East in Columbia Township. On the attachment to your report, I do have a revised schedule. I haven't crossed off Crystal Road North yet, but that's where we're at now, and based on the days and the schedules, that's where we should be in case you get any calls from the public wondering when their road's gonna be taken care of. You have a better idea where we're at and can give them a better idea as far as our timeline. So if you got questions on any of that.
No?
Okay. Okay. Let's see, we'll be holding a weed board meeting, Raj, in our conference room, and that'll start at 9 a.m. So Ken has taken care of advertisements on that, they're all ready to go, so should be there. And then I didn't know if we had time to go through, didn't see it on the agenda, to go through our budget, or what you wanna.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, in the highway administration, we went based off of the recommended increases for the upcoming year. So nothing there is out of sync, except when you go down and look at clerical assistant, you're gonna see a decrease of $219. Basically, that's because we had a retirement. She was a group 3 employee. Our new person is a group 1, so obviously that's a little less pay. Okay, and as she goes on and has more years, then she'll gain that back. So that's basically what that is there. So highway admin, we're looking at about a $6,415 increase there. Highway maintenance and repair, go through this here a little bit. I know we talked about moving 3 drivers into the operator's position. So if you look on the driver's salaries, we have a decrease of $153,000, which would be the loss of those 3, and then converted into $175,000 increase for operators pay because they got moved into there. We'd be looking at that there. So other than that, everything else is based off of that recommended pay increase. So we're looking at $31,600 increase for highway maintenance and repair. In general and undistributed, again, we're looking at mechanics, FICA, perf. We see some increases there. We did have some money we could put in for equipment, and then there's also another attachment on the handout that I gave you that shows our 5-year rotation, our 5-year rotation. And it's got the 2022 schedule of equipment on there as well.
How about this one?
Yeah. But what we're looking at here is potentially replacing a heated upright tank. The jacket had fallen off of it probably 10, 12 years ago. We had some spray on insulation go on top of that, and we've been painting it to try to keep it protected from the sun, but it's really getting old. And it's also a smaller tank, so when we bring in for that, we're getting a surcharge now of not a full load charge. So if we're looking at a replacement, our distributor did say that, by the time we get to doing this next year, there might even be a possibility that there could be
a decent used one out there for much less, but we'll research that and look into it. But that's kind of what we're looking at for next year. As well as a road grader for next year. We're looking at switching that out. So I think we're proposing on paying for half and asking the council to help us with that. And then a used dirt loader, I just threw a number in there of 50,000, assuming that we could get something pretty decent for that, with that amount of money. So I think we're looking at, what is it, 227,000?
That's the increase or the request.
And that should include those three items, so that's kind of what we're looking at for next year. A couple of those items, we're probably gonna be looking at getting some help from the council on purchase of those items. Okay.
So on here, it has 135,000. Is this the, am I looking at the right one?
That was during the total of the currently in this year. Remember last year, we didn't put anything in equipment. And then we did an additional appropriation of 135,000, so that's what our budget is in 21.
Okay.
And then that's what I'm asking for in 22, so that's 227.
Because you're over zero, not
Yes.
over 135.
Mhm.
Got it. Good.
So
Works for me.
that pretty much takes care of that item there. Local road and street, there's gonna be no change in that one. Cume Ridge, again, we're looking at the recommended pay raise there, and we're looking at $115,000 increase for phase 1 bridge inspection for next year as well. And a $6,000 decrease in phase 2 bridge inspection. So in Cume Ridge, we're looking at $119,000 increase from the year before. Solid waste, again, the recommended pay increases, and then we're looking at increasing highway reimbursement, $8,000. And then refuse disposal, we want to increase that $9,000 as well, because those, we're expecting rate increases next year for that, so that should cover that. So we're looking at a $27,000 increase there.
Under refuse disposal, it said 90,000 for 2021 and then 90,000 for 2022. Should it be 81 and 90? If there's a 9,000 increase? 03, 02?
Yeah, I'll have to look. 9, 10.
Or maybe look at it wrong again. So here,
Yeah.
so 90,000 approved here. And then you're requesting 90 again, or should it be 99
This
here?
should be 99 here. Yeah, that should be 99.
So you have 42 total last year. That makes sense. Okay. So, yeah, I just wanted to check your number, I guess.
And then, so on the sanitation part, we're looking at $150 increase, I think, because all of our new hires have to have, the testing, you know, which are part-time people, that's gonna increase that number. And then, liability and casualty insurance, obviously, that's gone up within our group, so, we're putting in for about a $4,500 increase there. And that comes out of, I think that was, Sandy, that that's the county general side, sanitation part. Yeah, we have a raise there, and boy, it's probably been 15 years or better.
We can go for additional part this year as well.
So how come the landfill or the refuse disposal is under both solid waste and sanitation? Are those different?
Yeah, it's not different, the same. They both help pay to knock that down. I think initially we got some from the sanitation department to help pay for that, but then our sticker money went and paid the additional part of that. Basically, it was like a usage fee that took care of that. But I think initially when this program was set up, the sanitation department did help dispose of a lot of the refuse.
So is the true amount closer to 180,000 or 100 and,
You have to add the two
For
together.
total, yeah, you have to add the two together.
does it make sense to combine them or not really?
I don't think we
You
can.
can't,
Yeah, I don't think we can.
this,
Yeah.
general fund is tax dollars, the other one's a user fee, you gotta keep them separate.
Yeah, they both fund the same.
They're both out of the
operation.
same fund, but it says 0302.
Yeah, but I think,
Oh, I'm looking, okay, the top line. There.
yeah, and I think a lot of this comes down from the state because of the solid waste management program.
I think
or
it's
something.
set up on the
Well,
floor out here.
that's been a long time ago, but I think that's how all of that started, so it obviously was separate, there wasn't enough from the one side to help fund it, so therefore our sticker money helps fund any extra expenses on that, so.
What is the work week for the clerk and the clerical assistant?
Monday through Friday, Michaela is in from 6:30 to 3, Ann comes in at 7:30 till 4.
They get half hours, they're 40-hour week employees.
You have any questions or changes, comments, anything? No, I don't think I have any changes. I support you moving forward to the council with the proposed budget. Commissioner Hostetter?
I agree.
Okay, Ryan, you want to come up? Ryan Young with EMS Ambulance Services. Morning.
Morning.
Yeah. we'll give it to him.
So obviously this is a new process for me, so if questions or I'm not doing something right, you just have to let me know. We could start out from the top of the budget estimate form there. So for personal services, I added a coordinator assistant, so basically Amanda Ferguson is the one who submits all the claims, and she does all that work for us. Previously, she was not getting anything for that. So last year's budget, I added 3% to that and then split that with her. So I'm not asking for any additional money. The money that was already appropriated for that, I'm just splitting with her. If that makes sense. I don't think it's fair that she does the work and doesn't get any reimbursement for it.
Sandy, I don't believe we've ever and I think it's a fine way to proceed. Would you have any problem creating a position to split how the funds are paid?
Doesn't add any additional wages or anything, so I don't really see any reason not to.
The only thing it would probably add is one more employee to do a W-2 and do payroll and. Sandy, do you see an issue with doing it this way?
I believe it should be this way.
Right,
Wow.
yeah, we've had that discussion.
Yeah.
Okay, so first off, I guess we need to have we would have to have a job classification for what that is.
Let's see, Marky's here.
Sure. Elmer's usually our first, there's wage classifications for various departments, the skill level within each department, and Elmer usually tells us which one that is. I don't know much about how that.
Might be an SO special. I didn't bring that up.
While we're waiting for them, supplies is the next thing that you have on there.
Yeah, so supplies, so my understanding was 5,000 last year. We're gonna keep that the same. That's for first responder, equipment, and then basically cleaning supplies for the trucks. Under the professional services, the hospital subsidy, last year was 359. This year, they based it at 409, so it's about a $50,000 increase. This is something that I probably would like to work on and maybe have some meetings throughout the year to discuss this. I've asked some questions. I don't really understand a lot of the information from previous years, but from what I found, it's all off of a budgeted number. So I would like to have some discussion on going on a actual number, whether you pay a year behind or you pay quarterly, and kind of see where we're at from a standpoint of transactions and how much revenue we've gained and how much revenue we lost and those type things. But we kind of did history from 2 years ago, 2 previous years. 1 year the hospital gained some money, the next year the hospital lost some money. So it's just kind of depending on the year, depending on the run volume. Last year our run volume was about 400 less than what it was the previous year. So that was quite a bit of a hit. From a transfer perspective, when your transfers are down, that's where you make your money. You don't use a lot of supplies, so really all you're out is your fuel expense and your payment of your employees. Emergency runs typically cost you money, depending on the severity of the run, because you use a lot of supplies, and the charging is not that much more to reimburse for those supplies. So that's kind of where you lose the money. So it's dependent on the year of volume and what actual runs you have. So I don't know what your thoughts are, but moving forward, I would like to have some more discussion about this. I think it's going to take me a year to kind of figure out what we can do and what we can't, but I think we can do better in that category.
So is the data that they presented to you?
Yeah, it's in the
In
packet,
here?
and yes, correct, yeah.
Let's go back to the coordinator assistant under personal services. Marky, do we have a job classification for a position like that?
Well, I was looking on the 2022 wage ranges that the council proposed to us, and under ambulance coordinator, it's under SO. Is yeah, so there's really nothing associated with that particular.
Special operations.
What about for a clerical assistant? Could we do something similar to a first year deputy or clerk?
Well, does she do mostly computer?
I mean, yeah, she's submitting, all the claims and all that type of stuff, keeps the inventory, the county inventory list up to date for us, those type of things.
Be like a Comat too. Would be the.
Because it doesn't matter, I mean, necessarily make a whole lot of difference because it's a flat amount. We don't have a required minimum amount of hours per week, it's part-time and if Comot 2 works for, then
That's where all the, kind of entry level administrative clericals at.
So I'll make a motion that we add the position of a coordinator assistant and under the Comot 2 designation.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. So that position is created and so you can move forward as you mentioned earlier. As far as the subsidy, yeah, I guess I'd like to see what they came up with, because anytime it goes up, I want to give it a good look at it.
Well, he and I had spoken, other places that we do settle up with, like the park, 4-H Fair Council, we look at what we have and then we settle up if they're long or we're short or whatever. We've never done that with the hospital, so I think maybe that's something we could look at.
Sure. Because now it's a gamble.
Right.
The hospital says, I think it's this, they
overpaid.
can lose, or we get ahead some years we get behind. So going on a actual year basis or
And some of the stuff that we've done to save money, you should benefit that as well. If you're going off this from a budgetary standpoint, you may not benefit because we're at a projected number. So to give an example, the cost in a budgetary cost for the fuel, we budgeted for $60,000. Well, since we've moved out to the county highway garage, we're saving about $1 a gallon. When you use 19,000 gallons of fuel in a year, you're going to save about $20,000. So, but that may not be projected to you because it's not an actual number; it's a budgetary number. So, I want to be fair to you guys as well in that regard. So, I think I would feel more comfortable going on an actual number than a budgetary number. So, I really need to make that work.
but from your review, you feel the 409 is fair to the county?
I think so at this point, yeah, just from the 2 months of that, I've looked at it, I think we're close there. But again, that's gonna be dependent on run volumes and all that type of, if we move forward what we've done the last 2 months, it's probably gonna be pretty close. If we have another dip, the pandemic comes back in the fall, then it may change from that standpoint. It's just, again, it's a best guess.
Right, okay. What about utilities? How does the budget hold up on that last year?
So utilities, we just had Huntingburg Utilities at 5,000 last year. So what I did this year, so we still pay some of the utilities, so we paid the phone line, the internet, the TV, all that for the Huntingburg out of the hospital account, and then we paid all the utilities. We split the utilities with Du Bois, so we paid 50% of that out of the hospital account. So what I would like to do is get all that in one place. So we're not paying some of it out of the county account, we're not paying some of it out of the hospital account. It's all in one spot. So that's what I had. That's why that increased from 5,000 to 11,600. That may change. So Du Bois Fire Department is building a new station. When that happens, I talked to Steve a few months back, and he's going to attempt to have 2 separate services. So the fire department would be on one service, and the EMS would be on the other service, and we would just pay the EMS service. From a standpoint of splitting it with them 50-50, I think it's a little unfair to them because probably 70-80% of the time, the door goes up, the heater kicks on, the fuel cost, they're paying 50% of that, but 70-80% of the time it's probably the EMS that's doing that from the standpoint of the fire department versus EMS.
So where the ambulance is located is in town,
Yes.
and where they're moving is going to be south?
I'm not 100% sure where that's at.
So you're saying are you gonna get the whole existing
No,
building?
we're gonna be in the new building, but he's gonna set it up so it's separate. So it's all gonna be under one building, but the EMS will be on their side and the fire department will be on their side. and he's trying to get the utilities all split.
Okay.
So it's more fair for both parties, I think, for that standpoint. So that will be any new building that's kind of a guess as to what the utilities are. But he had given me 2 years worth of utilities to look pack, and so that's where we got the number, the 4,800 number from.
You wanna do that?
Okay.
Under repairs?
So ambulance repairs, last year we, I think budgeted 35,000. So what I did was I took the 2020 fiscal year, we spent 73,000. And so the first 6 months, in repairs this year, we've already spent 27,000. So I annualized that at a rate of 54,000 and kind of took the difference, to 60,000. I think we kind of discussed, I think she went on the notion that we have 2 new trucks, so that should eliminate some of the repairs, which in theory, that should be fine if you were replacing the oldest vehicles, but we didn't replace the oldest vehicles because we have those 2 accidents. So the 2 that we replaced were not old vehicles, basically. So I think that's where we're falling short. We still have those. The one that is due to get replaced this fall, we've already spent almost $13,000 on this year. So I think that will help. I just don't want to shortchange where we were from last year.
You can continue forward if you would like.
So the uniforms, we had 12,000 last year. I think that's a little much. I think we can cut that back to 8,000. We spent right at $7,500 last fiscal year in uniforms. I think we can work with that. As far as the machinery, equipment, the computer software, that's our charting system, plus our road rescue system on the ambulance. We're gonna evaluate that road rescue system and see where we're at with that, but that's the same as what it was last year. And then equipment, we were at 27,800 last year, and we dropped that to 25,000. I think we're sufficient with that.
So Sandy,
Excuse us.
This is only one of the auditors.
so the equipment was, did you say 2,800 lower than last year? I think is what I
Yes,
came up with.
correct, yes.
So overall, you're looking at a $75,000, $74,000 increase on the grand total. Is that about what you're thinking?
I think there's some things in this year that we've cut. So we've cut the cell phone charges, which ended up to be about $15,000 annually. And we already talked about the fuel. One of the other things that we're gonna look at is looking at bringing a consultant in to look at our billing process and what we're not doing well on, from a standpoint of reimbursement. Is it documentation? Is it, you know, what is it that we're not doing, that we should be doing better type thing? So that's in the plan to do that. If we can increase the reimbursement, then that would obviously drop the subsidy, dollars. So, that's kind of the goal, but again, it's gonna take me a little bit to probably dig into that, figure out what's going on, and try to make some improvements there.
Sandy, what I was gonna ask a moment ago, the equipment last year was a cume cap expense and it's in the regular budget now. Is that anything we need to worry about?
No,
Let the council move it where they want it?
And we're doing it, I think they want.
And as far as approving or not approving the ambulance budget today, can we not approve today so we have to review the information within the
Well,
presented?
the longer you guys take, the longer we wait to put it into the system or whatever. So we'll probably put it as a preliminary, just so we can start calculating.
So we can, over the next 2 weeks, if we approve, ask for modification, anything, I can work with Ryan between now and then. And approve it additionally at the next meeting.
I would recommend putting it in, and if you guys wanna lower things, you can always lower it. It's when you increase it that causes the issues. Council can always cut it too. You can always ask for the moon and stars, you may not get them. So is there things in here you wanna raise?
No, I mean, anytime the subsidy goes up, I wanna see
Right.
why that is and what numbers they're using, see if we agree with them. So I would hate to say, hey, we approve it, but maybe after next
We
Saturday when I
can,
look
we
at it.
can start working on what you've got here, and then if you wanna lower, we can always lower it.
So that's what we'll plan to do. So if anything comes up between any time, I'll let you know. I'll be in touch.
All
Do you have anything, Commissioner Austin?
No, I think that's fine, thanks.
All right,
Okay,
thank you.
thanks.
Good morning,
Be right
Councilman.
with you. 1 second, please. The only thing, or one of the things I'm concerned with that budget was whenever I, that would have been, we were looking at a decrease and now it was what the other direction, so it's not a.
So it's a bigger swing than what it looks like.
Yeah, I was expecting a decrease, being able to be moved right forward with it.
I think he's really cool, I think, because he's trying to understand how she keeps those numbers.
Right, I think so too. Okay, please introduce yourself.
Good morning, council members as well as public service officials. Let me introduce myself by name. My name is Joseph Bassett. I'm a resident here in Jasper. I've been a resident for the past 2 years at the Vine Street Lofts through NVAH. And why I'm concerned is to present the other tenants as well as myself that the vandalism that's going on at the Vine Street Lofts and the malicious drug activity. I've had several other tenants come up to me and speak in behalf of their car vehicles getting vandalized in the parking lot. And nothing is being addressed as far as through NVAH. And also, which, they have to pay out of their pocket for deductibles. And really, it's totally uncalled for. We're all adults in this matter of speaking, And the drug activity, we have noticed that there is a few of the tenants that are acting rather strangely and not normally. And I've had one, if not two, say that they're going to be producing meth. I don't want that in our building, as well as other tenants. Because that starts, we're gonna move. Just basic maintenance, plain and simple. We don't want every day in life like that. And it shouldn't be allowed.
So the lofts, just as clear on this is the old Jasper Wood Products building, correct? Okay.
Correct.
I was just making sure I wasn't.
Right, it's 1308.
Mhm. So you feel that the parking lot isn't secure and somebody is going out there and either are they breaking in to
They
steal
are
things or
they are
they're keying?
keying other individuals' vehicles. Not once, but twice within the last 2 months. And, you know, to me, as well as the other tenants, it's totally uncalled for. It's childish behavior. But my question is, where does it stop? Can we get more patrolling of the officers, city officers?
Well, we don't have any say on what the city does. We are the county, so
Right.
the sheriff and his office is under the county. As the city of Jasper, have you contacted the city of Jasper Police
Yes.
Department and what do they tell you?
They said we had to present it to the council.
I think you may be in front of the wrong council. Because the city council meets over there, and the
Okay.
city council would be the one, and the mayor appoints the chief of police, and the city council would be under the city police. We do have a couple people from I believe, Stacy's still back there, we have a couple, members of the Du Bois County Sheriff's Department, we can ask what their thoughts are, or their opinions on, violence, or, this kind of, or drug or vandalism.
I would say it's definitely something that, I mean, we're well aware of, and, actually, when we leave here, we can go ahead and talk to Nathan and Aaron here at the city police department, we can talk to them, and relay your concerns to them. So,
Our biggest help is you guys as citizens, because as you can tell, we're a small department. We can have 1,000 officers and we still won't have anybody everywhere. So our biggest help is you guys. If you see something, you smell something, call them immediately. Say, hey, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I'm smelling, this is exactly where it is. If you see a repeat behavior, note that. I've been seeing them come out at 9 o'clock in the morning with bags in their hands, something like this, like I said. And that's something that we can set up. We actually have a narcotics team. Narcotics detectives, I know Jasper had one, but he recently just resigned from there. But I know in the county, we have at least 2. We've always worked great with Jasper, getting something together, getting a task force or something, but we're aware of the problem there. There's been many arrests come from that building, and there's gonna continue more arrests. But like I said, something you can help is, you see something, you smell something, call. And everybody's always carrying a cell phone, and you see somebody just being malicious, keying something, get your phone out, don't confront them, just videotape, call police, as soon as they show them the video. But it's hard to beat evidence on a video like that. Your word versus my word might be different, but if you have it on videotape, that's all we need.
I myself, as well as other tenants, have seen the malicious activity, but we didn't know to what extent our involvement could be. But like you presented, take a video,
Absolutely.
people coming, meeting, parking next to each other, handing things over, then they're leaving. To me, that throws up a red flag instantly.
Take your video, get plate numbers and stuff like that, and that's something our narcotics officers, oh, I know that person, I know what they're doing, so it's just a matter of waiting to catch them at the right moment.
No, I thank you for coming in, and like I said, the deputies will, go talk to the city police and make sure things go. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the 9 o'clock, that is a call-in,
Yep. So,
9 o'clock is calling or 9:30?
well, there's an Island LLC computer managed services
Oh.
presentation.
9:30 is this,
9:30 is it?
right,
No,
9
it's-
is something else.
yeah, so just come see
Okay.
us.
So we'll see if, thank you, gentlemen. So we'll see if,
At Anjan,
Tasha
do you
comes
want
in.
to try to call him? I got his number.
We have, some other business here. We have a minutes from the June 21st, 2021, Commissioners meeting. I move that we approve them as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. We have payroll dated 6/25. I move that we approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
This is Sandy.
Then we have the expense reports, the claims against the county. And do you have any changes, questions?
Oh, okay,
No,
I'm
not-
sorry.
I
We're
move that we
here
approve.
in the,
I'll second.
here in the Dubois County Annex.
There he is. Come on in.
Second floor.
Oh.
All right, so we have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So those are all approved.
Just call the minutes or something.
That's right. They were on their way. So the, excuse me, so just a miscellaneous item, Commissioner Hofstadter, I did contact DCS about a replacement on the CPT, and they have requested Autumn's email address, so they will get with her, and that process will continue.
I know you guys talked about it last time, you didn't make any formal motion on it,
I think what it was, I was gonna ask them what they
what they needed.
and Pam Bell, who is the person who runs that, just asked for that. So I guess we should just make that official.
And how long does your term gonna run? We'll have to make a-
Do it. I always did it annually with one bus service. So we want to do it annually.
Yes, we'll do that. We'll start it. She'll finish the rest of this term, so it would be January 1st, 2022, we would reappoint. So I'll make a motion that we officially appoint Autumn Goebel to the Child Protection Team.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So I do have a note here that I will reach back out to her. I think that's taken care of. Okay, we have an Island LLC Computer Maintenance Services presentation. You're welcome to come on up.
Do we have a screen or something to present?
Working on it. I saw your laptop, so I'm gonna try to get that going for you.
So if you can just tell us who you are and what you do, and he'll get that going for us.
Is there a
That way.
HDMI cable or?
I have a USB cable.
You offer any training to people?
Which if not, I could probably, I'll just pull it up here.
Well, you can, if you want to do
Yeah,
that,
this
you're more
one.
welcome to do that.
We don't want to antagonize people in the first place, so.
This is a Zoom meeting.
Good morning,
Thanks for
Brandon.
your time.
You're welcome.
We appreciate your time. Can we start informally before the connection starts?
Yes, please do, and be sure to speak loudly because it is being streamed, just so people can hear what you're saying.
Sure. We are an island LLC, and we are in southern Indiana. Of course, we've been running our company for the past 14 plus years. And then we are running since 2007. We've been doing the services for bigger companies, all the top level aluminum, steel, Boeing and that kind of companies. We always have a dream of supporting the local businesses and create the local economy, connecting and those kind of stuff. So with our experience, 30 plus years of experience, we have created our own cloud platform, software development. And then we are also now started supporting smaller businesses so that they can also have the similar enterprise solution like the bigger companies, so that they can do their businesses effectively. And that's what our business is all about. And then we have some of the things mainly into the managed IT services, and we are doing for the company, even counties like Perry County. We have we started doing, and then for the city and those kind of things we are doing.
Besides that, we also do, companies like ATTC in our Kansas City area. So we support them, and then they were earlier doing some paperwork thing. We have completely automated their processes, and then they are using our own cloud applications. So we do support for larger companies. We do support for larger companies, but also we do support for the smaller or the government type of businesses too. So,
And I think you may have received this in an email.
yeah, so I can just go through the presentation quickly. So we have structured in such a way that there are two companies, because we also have the entity in India. We have developed some software in the Indian market too. So that's our presence. And then our main thing is we have recently even developed a cemetery application, and then the Perry County, the Kansas City government also, they're going to use our cemetery management system to use it effectively to track all the records and things. So our vision is to support businesses from the cradle to grave, and we have software and capabilities with our systems. And then we are also, our vision is to support and then create jobs locally. And then we have people who are graduating from the local area. We are hiring them, and then let's say Purdue or Indiana University, and those guys are joining our company, and then we are expanding our local market. And then earlier we were doing mainly into SAP and larger implementation support, but now our focus is to create jobs locally, and then concentrate on local markets, and that's our focus. And then of course the core values, we have our responsibility and aspire. So we have our own slogan in terms of our vision. And then, so we wanted to create an integrated, we should be part of the overall integrated value chain of the community. And that's what our goal is. And then this is me. I have 30 plus years of experience, and then I've done for larger companies, implementations, and support. And then, that's my background. And then we have the other people in the company, the key people in the company and their experience. And then this is my son. He joined. He did his master's in Murray State, and then 2016 he got graduated. And then to set the platform, so he himself, I told him, he joined the local business, and then so that to strengthen, retain the people who were studying. I don't want them to go and then go to like New York or Chicago. I want them to come back to our area to strengthen our community. That's our vision. So that's why even he has joined, and then we are getting a lot of kids recently graduated, and that's our vision. And then we have these are all our major areas. Like one is our cloud applications, which we are talking about different type of applications which we have developed, and then that's all our proprietary things. We also have our cloud application for schools. This is now we are concentrating on Indian market because there are a lot of private units are there, so that's what we are concentrating there. And then we also have the data analytics application. So whatever the data we are collecting, so any kind of dashboard reports or instant information analysis, we'll be in a position to support the people. And then enterprise consulting, this is for all the companies, the larger corporations, we do that kind of support. And then managed IT is any kind of IT networking and data management, cloud backup, all kinds of activities. That's what we do. And then of course the e-commerce and supply chain for any kind of businesses, whether it's a small business or larger business or a mom and pop shop, they should be in a position to do online, especially with the pandemic now hit the market, so everyone should be equipped with all the electronic stuff. So we are trying to protect all the local businesses so that they can have the tools which they can compete with the corporate market. So that's what our vision. So we have various modules available, and then recently we also proposed to Dubai County HR department about the documentation flow. So they're interested in that one. So that is the DocuSign, the digital signature platform. So we have a platform which can connect various processes of our requirements of any government operation. So those things can be connected, and then in a simplified manner and a cost-effective manner that can improve the efficiency of every department in a simple manner. And then these are all various modules, we have in our system, so that can be implemented, each piece for effective communication between the departments. So we also do normally initial assessment and planning, which we will be doing free assessment and then understand their requirements, and then create a IT strategy and roadmap, and then overall we create a vision for the county or business or anyone, and then we do our system. And then this is about our data application, which we normally, it's supported for various businesses. And then, so any analysis of data which is collected, that can be done. And then desktop support, network, general server administration. And then recently, when during the pandemic time, we also did for the Perry County, they wanted to work remotely, to access their things and all. So we helped them. They were 28 years. They were with another company. So they shifted to us, and then we helped them in terms of getting those things very effectively. So they're very happy about it. And then we have saved a lot of money there. And then they've like close to $15,000 in just a couple of months we saved them. So they're happy with our overall things. We also introducing a lot of, if you notice, a lot of cyber attacks, and individual people are held on ransomware and that kind of thing, because people having elderly people, or maybe the people without good educational background, or maybe not the technology background, so they may not be knowing. They may go to a site and then they may say click something, and then they get caught, and then they will say, okay, you are captive now. You pay $800, $1,000 into something like that. So to prevent all those things, we are also recently started offering this kind of virtual IT services for smaller, even for individuals. So they pay a small fee, and then their computers will be monitored, and then nothing kind of this kind of ransomware or something will not attack those people. So that will protect our counties, and then people. And that's another thing which we started the recent initiative, so that can support even the smallest, people available in our area. So this is again talking about the e-commerce applications. We have even supply the local, recently what we did for the company in Stickers and More, which is a local company
Washington, Indiana.
Washington, Indiana. So even for them, we have created this e-commerce platform, and then we've done for them too. So this is our expertise and strength in terms of how we connect, and then how we provide solutions which can complete the cycle overall. And then this is another piece which we are initiating now, is the Smart Community Initiative. So we have, for example, each and every citizen or residents, they have to be connected, or in a simple manner. And then at the same time, if they have any kind of issues, they should be in a position to communicate to the other people very effectively. And then, so for example, if there is a problem on the highway, or some kind of a pothole or something like that, they can immediately say this is in my area, and then they can immediately communicate, so that goes to the right person. And then also you will have the right statistics. So during our meetings and all, we'll be in a position to say, okay, this much of, issues came up, and then this is all the things resolved. So there can be some kind of a statistical information can be collected. And also, besides that, you can also save a lot of money. For example, if there are certain things, periodic issues come up all the time for machineries or something like that, why this thing is happening. So let's say the cost of every month, like every year, like $30,000 we are spending on $100,000 equipment, like 30% you are spending on spares and things, then that could be a value proposition. So instead of that, how we could replace that item, so that maybe there is a reasonable data collection available. So even that kind of things will be available in our system and communication tool. So that's another thing, which is this particular thing. It can be implemented like in a staged manner. So initially, you can start for the simple the alert, which is called sent alert for the public, and then get them on board. And then the bigger advantage of this one is this particular smart community connects all the businesses and as well as the community and the people. So that creates the synergy. So once the county comes on the platform, the city comes on the platform, and then the businesses also will come on the platform, and the people are always there in the platform. So it is more or less like business to business, business to consumer, consumer to consumer. Communications becomes more simple. So any kind of businesses happen within the community and the county, and then so people know whatever it is supplied or whatever it is available locally, even for the mom and pop shop, it is immediately available. So that can be provided effectively. That's the kind of thing. So there are several modules available, maintenance or custom feature and all. There are certain things, of course, the financial management and all, it can be done. We can go later, but it's not required. But there are so many other pieces it can be implemented, like including the sent alerts and work requests, the breakdown maintenance of individual things. So then the HR, this is what we have digital communication board, and this particular thing which we have presented to the HR department here, and they are very happy with that, the demo and all. So that's another piece which we have already presented. And this is the thing which we are talking about, the community, and then including the polling. For example, if someone wants to set up a new business, let's say maybe a new Burger King or anything, so that they'll be in a position to analyze and then create a poll on the system, because everyone is conducted, and then the people, based on the people feedback, then there can be a new business can be started. And then those kind of facilities are available that will help in terms of bringing the economy more strong area, Southern India. So that's our vision. And then the promo alerts and those kind of things can be done in that thing. And then so we have tools for whether it's a point of sale or online store or even an appointment scheduler or event management. All the pieces are available in one single platform. So of course the community implementation approach, of course we can start meeting the stakeholders individually, first initially assess how we can go through implementation implementation of this particular approach, and then collect the data, and then we can provide a estimation of initial roadmap, how much it would cost and all. And then based on that, we can also come up with an implementation in stages, how much time it could take, and then what are the pieces we can get through initially, and then we can announce to the community, and then we can implement in stages. So this particular piece again, depending on how we want to approach, we can always do it, whether it's a big bang approach or maybe piece by piece, whichever we want, we can do it. That's it. If you have any questions, of course, there are a lot of information within 15-20 minutes. So I just wanted to appreciate your time, but, if you have any questions, please,
So our current managed services, I think we have it set up where, I don't know if what you're proposing is something similar to what we're doing, where somebody has a problem, make a phone call, they put a ticket together, they fix the problem. I mean, are you doing something similar to that, for
Yes.
an overall system?
that also, yeah.
Yeah, so that was something we started for Fair County, in the beginning of this year. And so before they, had a company out of Cincinnati, so they only have support maybe once a week on Monday. So it was kind of tough to get stuff resolved in a quick manner. So, basically now, if they have a problem, we just go and fix it. And then of course we also do,
Remotely.
but then we also do, things that also help to stop issues from happening too. Like there was a server that's kind of not in the best of shape, and so we got that to basically a virtual server, so that now it's going to save costs, and then there's no need to maintain something. So
Turn the light
Oh,
on.
yes, yes.
I feel like you're all in the dark.
so yeah, so those are all things we would.
That's similar to what Matrix was doing now.
Of course, we also do remotely, so that we can access the computer remotely, and then instead of driving down or something like that, it can be fixed immediately. We have attended a lot of issues. They may say there is an issue, and then we access, immediately with their permission. They will say, they will immediately say the number which is appearing on their system, and then the moment they give the permission, we connect it to their system, and then we immediately resolve their issues. That's another thing which saved a lot of time, and if someone has to come, and then the time also saves. That's
But then of course we're also close, to where we always
we
drive.
also do the periodic, maintenance and support to make sure that.
Did you say you're in Evansville, or where did you say?
No, we didn't.
Tell
Tell
City.
City.
Tell City, where you're from?
Okay.
And do you do sales as well for technology? I mean, if we did need new equipment, or we needed something installed, or?
We have done a lot of requirements. For example, recently they wanted a lot of new laptops and things for the county and city. So we have provided it in a very cost-effective manner. And then there are certain things we also suggest. This is not required. Maybe you can buy a different model or different thing, cost savings and that kind of thing.
All right, well, thank you for the presentation. You said you are doing some work with Markey, with HR?
Yeah, we have given a proposal to him for that. So.
Okay. You have anything?
Anything additional? We'll probably talk to Marky about it a little bit, see what he's working on.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there something you want?
He wanted us to provide him a link, but
Thank
he
you
gave us
for
the link,
coming in.
so he's ready. He'll be in there.
Right.
Confused.
Okay.
Oh, you're fine. You're welcome.
Steve, if you wanna go again, you can go, you don't have to hang out. If you've got,
We know you had a week of vacation, you probably had a pile of work to.
Allow you to catch up, thank you.
thanks.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Have a good day.
You want me to start that Zoom link then?
He's in there already. He said, I told him we'd be coming on live at 9:30, and he said, oh, he'll be there early. He thinks we'll go.
Okay.
He was waiting for me to send him a link, but he already sent us a link.
Yeah, sorry.
So, I don't know what, he's confused. I think he thinks we're zooming our meetings.
Greg, do you have anything for the next couple minutes here?
I do.
This week board meeting that you talked about earlier, do I have to advertise that?
Steve said he already did. I thought.
Sandy, you gotta know that there was pictures of surplus items here. I was like, I looked earlier and I'm like,
You probably want that
I'm not
last-
gonna dig through you guys' stuff.
That
but
last page is probably what you want.
So far, everything.
Which one, Gary's chair?
You hear his chair looks.
That one buzzes off.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Somebody can do
Definitely a kids section of probably goes far.
it. Good. I just wanted to know, I almost missed that.
The best part.
I bought it, but I didn't have a share option. Was it necessary?
For home?
And for pussies. Okay. I sat in my office and that was perfect time. It looks nice, there's no tears in the leather or anything. I sat down the first time and it's like, a little creepy.
So as soon as that Zoom meeting is ready, I guess we are ready to move forward with that. I guess we can talk about that ahead of time. While we have the surplus items coming up at 10:05. What are your suggestions on these? I can understand, his argument is that, you know, because of cloth and whatever, that's been sitting out in the apartment for a while, they're probably ready to be moving on. But I was thinking that these wooden ones, we should probably tell them to keep them, find somewhere to store them, if they have a need for them in the new building.
The only ones in the whole list that, those aren't worried about anytime soon.
I mean, these have some, big ones have some value.
If we keep those 15 wooden ones, if we wanna keep the blue one and the white ones too,
Okay.
So
Hey, Barry.
Okay.
All right, hang on, let me get my speakers going here. I have them going. Are you there? You hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear
I
you.
can hear.
Can you hear me all right? I think those big speakers will work. So I don't know why.
You guys have a PC?
Yeah,
If you go down to the bottom right, there should be an option to choose what speakers, as long as they're plugged in, of course, right?
Oh, we're good.
they coming through now?
Yep,
Yeah.
I hear 'em.
Yeah, we hear you just fine.
Okay, they're coming through now.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Brad.
Yep. Promise they are there.
Okay. See, can you guys see me though?
We see you.
Yes.
Okay, you see me. Okay, perfect. Well, thanks guys for joining me this morning. I know you guys are busy. You guys got a lot of it on your agenda, so I'll try to make this really concise, and I'll just run through and kind of show you an overview of what we do, you know, why it's important, what it could mean to you. But at any point during, if you want to jump in, you have questions, please feel free. And then at the end, I'll open it up to you for a Q&A, so you guys can ask me any follow-up questions. Deal?
Sounds good.
Okay, perfect, guys. I'm gonna jump right in. Okay. And we'll start here. You guys see GovOS on screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect, okay, so my name is AJ Lamb. I am a mid-market account executive here for GovOS, the parent company's CoFile, and we're the software wing for CoFile. And what we do here is we really take anything that is a form, I'm collapse this down. Anything that is a form, and we ask ourselves a very basic question is, what kind of stress and pain is this causing you and maybe the citizens, right? So a huge part of what a form is the beginning of a business process. And a lot of this right now is handled by static PDFs, which means a lot of additional steps. That's the processing side, and that's also the downloading side from the citizen point of view. And a huge part of that is also citizens are really busy, and they got a lot going on, and if they have to do too much, it's gonna be really hard for them to want to participate in the conversation, communication with their respective governmental institution, right? This is resonating with everyone in the room?
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so a form is the beginning of a business process. And really what that means at the high low is that you have to build it, you have to find it, you have to fill out, pay, and sign. There's a submission back end, it takes time. There's processing, it could be data processing, it could be collecting emails, attachments. Of course, you gotta communicate to the right people, maybe going back to the citizens. And then last but not least, you want a storage system that protects against water, fire, human error. You don't want to be vulnerable to a building being damaged and losing important documents for yourself and your citizens, right? So part of what we move on to this is that whatever we just discussed multiplied by hundreds of potential forms. It just depends on the county and the city's needs. So this is going to be part of the conversation today with all of you, is whether or not there is a need. Right? Whether or not there is actually an initiative here that makes sense for you specifically so that this kind of innovation makes sense, right? Because we're not in the business of selling the software that governments and institutions don't need. And I'm sure you guys are in the business of buying the software that you can't use, right? So moving on, I just want to show you guys a little bit of a demonstration here. I got a chance yesterday to put together a couple of these forms because I wanted to show you guys just a kind of a preview of what these would look like if these forms that are currently on your site, were seamless docs. So what I did, and I can always do a further product demo in the future too, if anyone's questioning or would like to know more about this on the back end. I take the literal form, the PDF, and I feed it into our system, and within about 90 seconds, most of this work is done automated through our system. And now this form that you're seeing right now, I can send you this URL, and you can click on this URL where the PDF would be on your website, and now you can use this form to communicate directly with the various department heads who have admin permission on our side, and it's all organized for you. It automates most of the review process. You can tag it, it can send back to the right official or back to the citizen who's missing information. How much time would this save your various department heads if you guys had something like this? If you guys don't mind me asking you an open question.
I'm more concerned with it saving hassle for the citizen.
So you're worried,
I was gonna say that's where a lot of the savings would come from, I think.
More of a hassle for the residents rather than the employees.
Got you, yeah, so that's really the focus. So basically, once this is done, it's ADA compliant, it can work with programs for, people of, vision and hearing impaired, it can work on cell phones, tablets, computers. So what we see, and I have case studies I can also send on this as well, what we see with all our working partners is a huge improvement in their ROI because the interaction goes through the roof, because as you point out, the focus here is really the citizens and their main point in it. And when you take away any of the stress around filling a form by making it incredibly simplistic and easy to use, they're going to use it more. There's going to be less things that come up in their day-to-day life that keep them from having enough time to take a beat and do this, right? So that is the primary focus of the software. You guys have any questions so far?
Not yet.
Okay, so go right back in. Merge just sounds strange. Intermediate presentation, whatever it is. All right. So, like I was saying, the online status quo right now is, and the primary reason why you guys should even be interested in this is because Word, Adobe, paper, fax, scan, email, physical, data entry, Excel, filing cabinets, folders. This is what we're trying to replace. Right? We want to walk away from these things. You don't need to digitize things because they're already digital. Okay, things can't get lost because they're backed up. Your backups can be kept on premises if you choose, if there's some federal mandate or state mandate in your area, but you're not required to, right? And the difference between going with us versus, let's say, a legacy company is that it's limited functionality, not scalable, incredibly expensive, and super time consuming. And what CoFile has done is they brought in this new, very, very innovative software, which has actually it's been around for a while, so let's talk. That is very nimble and easy to use, and is super easy to integrate. So if you have department heads who are maybe not really high on the TQ, they're not maybe the most tech savvy individuals, they will not be drowning in this software. The software is kept with them in mind as well, but it is also deep and is quite usable. So if someone is quite experienced and would like to learn more, there's quite a bit that they can do with it. And so last but not least, I'll just say on this side with the solutions and the platform, West Studio covers the entire range of building, hosting, access, submit, sign, pay, process, store, and manage all under one house. So you're not piecemealing and buying several pieces of software. And I will just bring in a success story for you guys. So one of our working partners here in Bartholomew County, Thomas Faust. Thomas spent 16 years with the Columbus Police Department. Led firearms and close quarter combat instructor, aside from managing and investigating division. Most recent duties have included focusing on repeat offenders, implementing intelligent life policing. So the old Warren process, time was wasted on legacy-based paper process. No easy way to contact judges, using Microsoft Word to create and edit forms, and multiple agencies using different versions. The new cloud process through us included accessibility of warrants anywhere, quickly and seamlessly getting in contact with the judge, frees up officer manpower, more efficient, ultimately able to lock up bad guys faster, okay? Aftermath internal, officers happy with the process, no need to physically appear in front of a judge, huge time saver. Process went from hours to minutes. Now there's a common form across agencies, tracking data better, number of warrants, response times, etc. Can use this anywhere throughout the state. And so I know what I will leave you guys with as far as before we get into pricing is that the idea here once again is to be departmentally agnostic. So that is a use case for one very specific department for one very specific use. But what makes our software unique is that it can solve about 98% of every single form solution required for a governmental institution. Okay. I'll just jump right into this with you guys. So then the last thing I want to talk about today, for the purposes of this presentation, I'll be mindful of time for you guys. Depending on need, right? So this becomes the next part, is how many departments would use this software if you guys decided to use something like this? That would be my first question to the board.
How many departments?
Yeah, it would be the total number of forms. So it wouldn't necessarily be number of departments, but it'd be number of forms. So it'd be, if it was going to be larger than 50, then we would be looking at a tier 1 medium subscription to the service. If it's below that, there are other options. If it's above that, then you can see as follows.
I think it would be limited at first.
Limited first? Okay, so give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna stop sharing for just 1 second. I'm gonna grab something real quick. I will show you.
I don't think we
typically don't start by showing it. Give me 1 second, grab it. I appreciate you guys' patience. Share it again. Share screen. Okay. Use this as often as you see that. Okay. Gosh, sorry guys. Okay. You guys see what's being currently right now?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the pilot program, and the whole purpose of this program is as the name implies, is it is a pilot. It's an idea. So you get a chance to play around with the software, play around with the tools, work with our excellent partner managers as far as how they operate the onboarding process and what what kind of innovation you could be using this for and what departments. And this guys will give you a lot more flexibility. What department do you guys think would probably be your first use case if you guys were to do something like this?
That's who I thought of right away.
Probably our health department.
Your health department?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha, yeah. So let me ask this question. What forms the health department? This is an understanding, and I've talked about this a little bit too before, but what specific forms the health department are you hoping to utilize for this?
What do you think it's maybe like a request for a birth certificate or what else would you get? I mean, immunization report.
Gotcha.
Well, some of these are state prescribed forms, so other counties may have them already.
Okay.
If you're doing it.
What I will do,
I think the idea is, fill it all out online.
I will send a follow-up email out also as well with some of those forms converted as well, if you guys would like to see it. Would you guys like to see the back end of the software? You guys have time?
Yeah, what's going on?
Okay, just jump in. Okay. So click on here. So when you are here, you will be, of course, putting Dubois County, and then the seal, the crest for your county will be here. And this is what the back-end submission manager looks like. So if I'm the admin of this account for this county, now there can be several admins depending on the size of the account and the complexity of the governmental institution. But pretty straightforward on the left-hand side, you'll see that there's a lot of just form folders in here. This is just the inventory library, really straightforward. What really makes the platform special is this create button that upload documents, build a web form, browse templates. That's all for the building side. The upload document side, I don't want to apply dump. I don't want a data feature dump. So you'll just have to, for now, just take me on the fact that when you press that button, you take a form active and live, and you can transfer it into it. It does most of the work for you. You just like a little bit of tweaking, and then it's done. But for purposes of me showing you the back end is this submission manager. So here's a birth certificate for Altontown, New Hampshire. And I have 9 submissions put into the system. And you will see that on the left-hand side, you see these dots here, guys? So what these are stages. So you can come in here, put any stage you like, you can tag the process, you can assign it to specific department heads or governmental employees. And once that's done, on the back end, there's a trigger system, which is basically a Rube Goldberg machine. Sounds a little bit more complicated than it really is. Once you learn, it's really simple. You set up rules, and once the rules are in place, once whatever the process is entered into the system one time, it automates it forever. And you can come in here and you can alter it as needed, but it does a lot of the processing on the back end. Does this sound pretty useful, guys?
Don't know yet.
Think so, but don't know.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, that's part of the reason why I feel like the pilot program is a good place to start. It gives you guys a chance to play around with it, so I can set some use cases for your peers too. And then last but not least, the search engine is really functional and very, very useful because I can come in here and I can look up a form by a name, any piece of relevant information that exists, for a particular form submission. So if I'm trying to go through hundreds, maybe thousands of form submissions, this makes it really fast and super easy because you have a compiled digital library. Okay, so this is a good time for me to stop talking and to bring the mic back to you guys. Any questions, guys, that I can answer for you guys? It's kind of a more on this.
I would say initially the need that I've seen recently was we've just had a few documents we wanted to be fillable, and that was the only need that I've noticed. What you started discussing on the second part of your presentation was more of a document management, is what it sounds like. Is that accurate?
I'd say it's about 2/3 of the platform is document management.
Because there's not much to taking a PDF. You said you scan it in, takes you a couple minutes, and you have now you have fill.
Would you like me to demonstrate that real quick?
No, I believe you.
Oh, okay, gotcha. It's really simple. It's 90 seconds and it's done. Right. And then maybe there's a little bit of altering depending on the quality of the scan, but generally speaking, it's pretty accurate. And what that does is that means that any department that's using the software, they're not spending hours, weeks, transferring their existing forms, which maybe a day, maybe a day taking their existing forms. I mean, can you imagine what that kind of innovation would mean to you guys?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you that I think it sounds wonderful, because I don't know if it does. I haven't had a lot
I
of
think
people.
if we had some department heads sitting in here, they might be able to say that would work really well for something, but, I'm not the expert on this.
And my department doesn't really get a lot of forms online. We need people to come in and sign them.
Mhm.
So I guess your platform would accept payment on a fee that had, or a permit that had a fee associated with it too, then, right? How would that work?
Was that last question directed at me?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I apologize.
If there was a fee associated with the permit, how does that work? Then,
Are you at? Could you speak up a little bit to the mic? I apologize. I can't hear you very well. He's talking about permit and zoning. I want to make sure I give you an accurate answer.
okay, so if we have a fee associated with the permit,
Perfect.
how does that interact or work?
Oh, we integrate the whole thing. So we have 13 payment direct integration partners and 70 expanded. And expanded just means it just takes a little bit more time for us to integrate them into the form, like 2 or 3 weeks. And once that's set up, now whatever account you have set up or you can't set up, when the fees are generated with the form cannot be submitted until an accurate payment has been received from a viable payment source. And all that money will go directly into that account of your choosing or accounts of your choosing. There's digital, federally mandated receipts that are on the back end that have unique and, what's the right word here, encrypted codes, so it's a very safe system. So the citizen gets a receipt and you get a receipt on the back end built into the form. So when you're in the submission manager, you go down, you look on the right, there's a receipt in the form for the payment.
Okay. I've received several people, can I do that online? Can I do that online? For my driveways, things like that. That's the only reason I asked them. Fee associated with it.
So what do you do currently?
What do we do currently?
You email them
I email a copy, they still have to come in and write us a check. Cut us a check.
Well, I heard part of that. So what I think you said was, please correct me if I'm wrong, is that he does email them a receipt. So they do get a receipt for their payment. So they have a record that they've made a payment, but the receipt is baked into the form. So on your side, you have to go to the form and the receipt is there. Now I have talked to them in the past and I don't want to promise this, I'd rather under promise and over deliver. I believe that there's a way for us also to build into the form a way to email whoever you choose inside the governmental institution also a receipt, right? I'll have to get back to you on that by end of today to make sure that's true, because that has just recently come up as a question. So I want to make sure I have give you guys the best. So.
Same way with your office, if send somebody a form, they fill it out, email it back to you, or bring it in person.
We don't collect any money on our forms, so.
Right, I just talking about the form itself, not we're off the.
Origin homesteads. You guys do money.
Well, AJ, I don't think I have any other questions.
I don't have any.
Okay, perfect, guys. Well, hey, I'll be in touch later in the week. I hope that the rest of today goes very fruitful and productive for you guys, and I really appreciate everybody's time. Okay,
Thank you.
guys have a lovely day today. Okay,
Bye.
thank you.
It seems like he's doing
I can see where the benefit would come in, but I don't know if it's a $6,500 a year benefit. That's just a pile.
I didn't get these out to you guys earlier, it's for the job.
Thank you. Yeah, so, I could see where if we need documents down and we need some one-time consulting on certain things, that might be more of a, please convert this form and make it make it usable.
Well, the thing is you'd have to have every department have an administration to do their own forms. And I don't know how that, if that would even, I think you get it first and then nobody would touch it again with the website. Now, when people want stuff from the website, they pretty much call me, hey, how do I do this? Because they can't remember how to do it, or they don't do it, or.
And I helped set the thing up, but I wouldn't be able to do it again now.
My point exactly.
Say, I just put that oversized over a big truck. It took, once I got into it, I was okay, but man, it took me a little bit to go, okay, what did I do? I had to go back to my notes and check through it. I got it, but it took me a minute.
Right.
I don't even remember how to get into the administrative part to do it. I mean, I'd have to learn all over again.
And that's exactly my
I
point.
go
I
through
think
the same stuff when our website was created and it's all new, it's like, oh, this is cool, I can do this, this, and this.
but you don't do it.
And then you don't, and then I did finally, after I had my prior website about 5 years, I came in and changed some things on my menu, and I got it all screwed up, and I called the company, and like,
Well, you
"Hey,
can't
can
call
you
this
fix this
one, you
for
gotta
me?"
do it online.
So, what do we have here? How come?
Okay, she changed it a little bit because now we're starting to use the 9.6 million,
Yes.
which is here. We're starting to use this one. We haven't done anything yet. So she's just gonna keep this one, the other jail fund, down there until we finish this 9.6, then she'll jump back here. So the only thing this will get is, right now, is interest. We have not made our first payment yet. It's July 15th.
Is this our lit income?
Yes, this is our regular limit. And then this up here is the, what we have from the proceeds, but
Mhm.
they'll make our first payment July 15th.
Okay. So we'll be building here and
Right.
decreasing here. So I guess my question was, why are they on there twice?
Different,
Guess I'm trying to figure out what's going on here.
different
So this is
funds.
fund, okay, this is out of the, okay, so this coordinates with this is the new fund.
Right.
That's where we were before.
Right. Old National Wealth Management.
Okay.
I was asked that question at council.
Dr. Moss, it is 9:50 and the floor is yours.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So, anyway, it's a good auspicious time, just coming out of the declaration, the 4th of July. And a lot of people don't realize that the 4th of July, the Declaration of Independence only declared our independence, but then we had to fight a war for 8 years to win it. And I feel that in many ways we are in a similar moment right now. I would say that what we have seen the last 18 months with the COVID fascism, the COVID tyranny, well, King George, whatever he did, didn't come near what was done to all of us at all levels of government, local, state, and federal, the last 18 months in response to this virus. And so I see this as our Declaration of Independence moment. It's an opportunity, actually, for us to think about what we all did to ourselves, again, at all levels, in response to this virus, the utter abridgment of freedom and natural rights that occurred. And so, I think we can perhaps look at this as an opportunity for a Patrick Henry moment of give me liberty or give me death. And to that end, I would say that the response to COVID for the last 18 months, and we're sort of shaken out of it a little bit here, but many states maintain it, but we're concerned with what happens here. But nonetheless, even here in our beloved Du Bois County and in our great state of Indiana, we we fell victim to the fascism and tyranny of COVID, with the lockdowns, the shutdowns, the mask, or as I refer to, the diaper mandates, the social distancing, the school closures, the quarantining, all of that was done and exacted a tremendous price on the country and again here as well locally. And it's important to understand that this was really the greatest self-inflicted wound ever committed by the nation to itself. And that all of these measures that we undertook had absolutely nothing to do with the trajectory of the virus. The virus, what it did, the first wave, the second wave, the third wave, it was seasonal, it was geographic to a certain extent. All of those things we did had absolutely nothing to do with the virus. The virus comes and you have again that first wave and then the next and the next and on, and much of it is seasonal and much of it is geographic. And as a community gets exposed to it, it develops herd immunity. But it takes several ways for that to be accomplished. But all of and the virus is going to do what it's going to do. The main thing is to protect those who are at risk, but let everyone else live. That's sort of the principle. So we had targeted protection, selective protection. That's the principle that we should employ, but not this carpet bombing, this saturation bombing of the entire county, state, and country, which is what went on. So I just want you to think about these things, and so then we come back to our county right here. And but nonetheless, what occurs at the federal and at the state level, and in this case around the world, it's horrendous, but it also occurred right here in our county. And I have what I describe as a red county, red state initiative, in which those states and counties like this one that are conservative and believe, generally in God and the Constitution and our founding documents and basic American principles, we can protect ourselves. And so I call this our never again legislation. And so, the things that I would ask you to think about in our give me liberty or give me death moment are the things that I mentioned the last time I was here, but maybe it bears repeating. But now in the context or just in the context of easing out, and then the reaction, how we're thinking about this, what we did to ourselves, none of which had any effect, and yet the collateral damage, the loss of jobs and businesses, and a blow to the economy, and the kids being locked out of school, and the increases in suicide and drug addiction and deaths of despair, all of those things that occurred because of the shutdowns and the lockdowns. The kids, missing an entire year of school. We didn't get to do marching band. I'm a big, band parent, with my kids and everything. That was eliminated. So that's gone. They're seniors. They're done now. So, these are maybe minor things, but not that minor. But there were much greater things as well. So I would ask my good friends here to consider never again legislation. It's not to lock yourselves out of things, but we should never really do what we did. We should not have lockdowns. We should not have school closures. In the old days, what do? If you're sick, you stay home. I mean, that's pretty simple. And the flu is far more dangerous. The regular seasonal flu is far more dangerous to kids than COVID ever was. And yet, even now, they had, right, and I went to the school board too, I complained to them, the state lifted the mandates, the mask mandate, but the schools kept it. That's actually the flip, the reverse of what it should have been. We all know that the kids are least at risk, and yet they were not allowed, and the ones who are most emotionally traumatized by having to wear these diapers on their faces, by the way, none of which confers any protection to it. I mean, the poor size of the cloth masks, it's, as I've said, it's the same as trying to stop a mosquito with the chain link fence. It's absolutely ineffective. And yet, and in many ways makes it worse. It gets contaminated and moistened and so forth, and many other problems with masks. And the ones who are most traumatized by that were the ones who were forced to continue wearing it. Now, I know that's sort of not in your line, that's, I realize now, is sort of a separate lane. But anyway, what I would ask you to consider is never again legislation in terms of, we're not gonna have lockdowns, we're gonna have selective, targeted protection. Yeah, we know who's at risk, the very old and the very sick, with the significant comorbidities. That's 97, 98% of the deaths were people who, either old or they had obesity or other significant comorbidities. But the general population, I mean, it's, fairly immune to the thing. They'd get it and they'd have some sniffles or a cough or something, and they'd move on, and, basically like a flu. So we don't want to have lockdowns. I'd ask you to consider that. Be very careful. And I would also argue that I know that there's certain things that come down from the state, but I think, one of the blessings of our form of government that our brilliant founders created was this idea of layered government, so that it's not all centralized at the federal level. I mean, you all know that it was the states that created the federal government. So the states really should be sovereign in this country for most things, but that's that train has left the station, I'm afraid. But we should still go back to that notion that it's the states. But even beyond that, so we have federal, but then we have states, which further disperses power, which is again the idea of the Constitution, to take it another level, which is local. I'd say that, if you feel that there's policies coming down federally and at the state level that are injurious to our community, to our county, that you can go ahead and take a stand and say, and you present a reasoned argument and have your witnesses and your experts backing you up. And you can say, we're not doing these lockdowns, we're not doing these shutdowns, and we disagree with the governor. I'll ask you to think about that. I'm not asking anyone here to cross the Delaware River at midnight, Christmas Eve, and marching 10 miles to Trenton and taking on the Hessians. Nor am I asking anyone to storm the beaches of Normandy or Iwo Jima. But I am saying, there's not that kind of a risk to you, but you may need to step out perhaps in a principled way, in a reasoned way, that you can defend the county when you think, even at the state level, things are coming down that you disagree with, and you're going to protect the county. So I would just go down the list of things that I mentioned, and I may give my same list to you again, just to refresh your memory. But I would say there should be no sweeping universal lockdowns, school closures, which I understand is in a different lane. No mask mandates. If you're sick, stay home, just like we always did when we were kids, right? That's all. You don't need everyone wearing masks, which have no effect on the virus. I mean, there's so many studies to tell you that the masks make no difference with the virus. We wear masks in surgery, and the reason is to protect us more than to protect the patient. So, when there's splashes, and so forth, whatever it might be, we're protected. And as far as viruses are so much smaller than bacteria. No benefit to preventing. So no mask mandates, diaper mandates, no quarantining unless you're actively sick, yes, but not the whole community shutting everyone down. I just think we really need to take this, again, it's give me liberty, give me death moment here. And we have a little opportunity because the country is sort of waking up, and locally here, our county and people are saying, what the hell do we do to ourselves? And so I'd say now is our time to maybe think about never again legislation. And then, again, this is not, I'll just mention it, no critical race theory, which is a racist doctrine. That's not your line, but I'll just mention it. And I mentioned the last time, and I'll bring it up again, we did not elect the director of the county, Du Bois County Department of Health. He's, a paid employee. He's part of the bureaucracy. He could be fired as well. He should not have the ability to shut down. I mean, they have the right based on established protocols. And we're, in the restaurant business, we know how that goes. They come around, they can make sure that a restaurant is not poisoning their customers. That's a good thing. but not this thing of shutting down all restaurants, all bars, all salons, all movie theaters. That should not be, he should not have that power to do that. I urge you to look at reining in the seemingly dictatorial powers of somebody who basically is in the bureaucracy, unelected and really unaccountable to the people as you all are. You ran for your position. You have direct authority and we entrust that authority to you, and we nominated and elected all of you. That's a different situation. So but you have authority over him. And so my good friend Ted, I think, went over the line, and I'd urge you to really take a look at that. Pharmacies, if I want to order HCQ, hydroxychloroquine, for my family because I know that it works, and I use HCQ when I was working in Asia for 2 years. Great medicine, 1 billion uses. If I want to prescribe that, we should be allowed. And I'm not sure if this is your lane on that one, but I just mentioned it, that doctors can prescribe even if it's off-label. If there's evidence coming out, you're dealing with a crisis, let them order ivermectin, let them order, tell them to take vitamin D3 and so forth. So, and then I mentioned before about a sanctuary county, and you're seeing this pop up more and more, and I don't see any reason why we can't be at the forefront of this movement to protect our individual rights, all the founding documents and principles that we all know and believe in. I would suggest again to my friends here to consider making this a sanctuary county for the Constitution, not just Second Amendment, but yes, Second Amendment, but everything. The Constitution, the Bill of Rights, freedom of speech, the whole thing with the churches, shutting down the churches. No. Should never do that. Freedom of religion, freedom of worship, we all know that. That's foundational to the country and to here in our county as well. And all the other rights in the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, and on down the line. I'd ask you to consider that. This is Concord and Lexington, this is Bunker Hill, except we're not getting shot at, that's good. But really, we are facing tyranny. And the next time there's another Delta variant down the pike, they're gonna do it again. So I'm kind of loading you up a little bit to be prepared for the next time when it comes around again. I don't know how much time I have. I got 15 minutes.
Minus 1 minute.
Okay, I'll close it up here.
Actually, it's 10:05 now, so you're 10:05 your time.
All right. I would just ask you all to recognize that there is, in my opinion, and not just mine, a Bolshevik collectivist communist revolution at play here. We should recognize it, see it for what it is. It's a movement that's taken over this globalist, anti-nationalist, and I think anti-American movement that's taken over our institutions and one of the dominant parties, I would say. And I think as a red county in a red state, we can protect American principles, and we know what those principles are. We know the future by the past. We know how these movements have occurred. The noose is getting tight, but it's not quite around. We still have the ability to move and to think and to act. Now is the time to act. I again ask you to consider to act now. And we should really never again prostrate ourselves over the irrational dictates of a dictatorial government, whether it's at the federal level or at the bureaucratic level in terms of our Department of Health, or the CDC and the NIH and on down the line. And then at the federal level, even at the state level, I'm not a big fan of our governor, and I think he's betrayed his party. But without getting into all the political stuff there, just to say, if you need to stand out and protect your county, I would support you in doing that. And I think now's the time where we have a little breathing space. We're sort of passing out, but believe me, next little variant that comes around and cases go up, which they always do in the winter, it's gonna happen. Are we gonna shut down every winter? Lockdown, school closed, quarantine, mask mandates, are we gonna do that again? Is this gonna become the new normal? I hope that it's not. I ask you to think about that and do what you can to, and I would even say again, never again legislation. We will never again lock down, shut down, school closure, mask mandates, quarantine, social distance, all of those things. If you're sick, stay home. It worked great for my mother. She told me, hey, you're sick, stay home. That's it. Okay, the wisdom of our parents. What's wrong with that? It's far better than the wisdom that we've gotten. So you think about that, and then the other side of it is if you would like to think about the idea of a sanctuary, it's not that bold. Again, I didn't ask you to storm the beaches of Normandy. I'm just saying protect what we have. And I think other counties are starting to do this and wake up to this. We're going to protect the Constitution here. All of the Bill of Rights, every last one of them. First and second are big number one, number two, but all of them, but certainly heavy emphasis on the first and the second, with the religion and the church closures. We don't want to do that ever again. So those are my comments, my friends, and I appreciate you giving me the time again to speak. Appreciate you putting my son to work at the bagel shop.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm going to give you these again just so you have them and fresh in memory. All right,
Good with that from.
hey, what's that?
We're good.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
I think there's 3 things. Okay, we have surplus items. We have a list that's been provided to us from the health department. There are some printers and some old computer items, electronics and chairs. Let's, in addition to that, the Weights and Measures has an office chair that is in very poor shape and a laptop. And then the court and small claims, I guess we have all of those because they've been replaced.
They've been replaced.
And so we have 11 desktop computers there. I would, after reviewing all of the items that were presented, my take on it would be that we could, I'd be comfortable to declare them surplus, try to find a better use, another use for them if and when necessary, but I don't think there would be for many of these items. The only exception I would have is there are 15 wooden chairs the health department has. I would suggest that we declare everything surplus, barring those 15 chairs, that those can be reused. They are the same model that we use in this room. So that's where I would stand on it. Yeah.
Put that in form of a motion.
I will put that in the form of a motion. I move that we declare all items listed as surplus, barring the 15 wooden chairs with a natural finish. And ask the health department to find a place to store those or to save those items. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. No one opposed, the motion carries.
They're gonna ask them what you want them to do with them. Dumpster, give them to people, what? They're gonna ask.
Well, the argument he was making for the health department chairs was that they are cloth in nature, they may be contaminated, many soiled, many years of damage, so those would probably be trashed. And the electronic items, we dispose of those, we have a method for disposing of those already.
Well, I know that some people said that they would take them if they were in the dumpsters.
The computers?
No, the chairs, some of the chairs.
I think that it would be the county's position that we would dispose of them, and if what happens with them from there would be. Yeah. We're declaring them surplus, you should get rid of them. Mr. Schneider?
No, I agree with that. I know each item is different. Some can go straight to the dumpster, some can, somebody can
Take them and repurpose.
correct. Some of those photos are beyond repurpose.
I get it, but somebody might want that office chair, you never know.
Some I made.
Thank you.
I guess we're gonna take a 10-minute break.
Kind of have to, yeah.
Can't do it alone.
I thought you
I moved it, or got moved for me. They sent it out. They sorted it out. You're right.
Twenty 22 budgets.
I do have a quick, covered bridge certification, we have 0.
Okay. We, the county commissioners of Du Bois County, hereby certify the aforementioned is true that we have 0 covered bridges. Is that the bulk of it?
Yep.
I move that we sign the covered bridge certification.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I don't think we care.
Move back.
All right, regarding the budget, let's just get into this. The top section, I believe all of that has been previously considered and approved. I don't have any changes there. The social security, insurance, employee benefits, those items, those will be determined based on figures, estimates, best guesses.
We have to know everybody's before we can calculate those.
Right, we'll have to know what wages are going to be for FICA, for example. Perf. Copy paper, $9,000. Is that not enough? Is that too much? Think it's fine where it is? Commissioner Oster, do you have any issues on the first page?
I do not.
Second page, we've approved all of the, from, ones that are professional services, I believe.
I have no problem with those numbers.
Okay. Travel, I think we used to be at 10, we took it down to 9.
It's hard to guess because last year nobody traveled.
Nobody travels, all that money will go back to the fund. I don't know if that's where we were last year, I don't have any problem with just leaving it for time being.
I think I sent you the, you spent it, didn't I?
Year to date, I didn't get one of those, is that what you mean?
That's last year's, I believe. Like I said, it's just last year was not a big year to compare to.
Oh, so this is giving a year or a month?
What was it? Each line item.
This is where we are year to date.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, 1/8, well, yeah, from January through June.
Do I have both of them in there? I don't remember what I did. Maybe I didn't do last year.
I guess that would tell us where we are year to date, but
Right.
sometimes things all get paid in January, some get paid in the
Right.
fall.
I thought I ran the other one, but I said last year.
Has postage gone down again this year from? I know we've been using a little less postage.
Let's look at the average for the year. Right now, we spent 12, almost 13,000.
We have a $60,000
Kind of
budget.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months.
I say we could probably take a little bit of a cut there if we spent 13,000 in 5 months.
Where we at?
60 for postage, page, under other services and charges. At the top.
I don't know. Okay.
Trying to think what would be anything coming out. I know tax sales coming out, but statements have already been out. I don't, it's just hard to,
Yeah. We're at what already this year, 13?
we've spent 13.
In 5 months.
Well, that was up through April 5th.
So a quarter
It's
of the
been
year.
13 up to April, that was the last time we paid something.
So that gets us.
I'm pretty sure on the check run today, there's probably some postage on there.
So 52,000 for the year, where that would put us.
Cut it to 55. I hate to come back for an additional appropriation for postage.
Let's do 58,000 and we're heading in the right direction.
It works for me.
So we'll cut that down to 58,000. Printing, official bond, building insurance. Insurance is just gonna cost what it's gonna cost.
Official bonds, that we pay all that in December for everybody's bonds. If salaries go up, bonds may go, I'm not sure. Is it based on salary? That's dues.
Let's do.
I don't know.
No, I think the bonds are just a minimum and a minimum
It's
that's
just a-
coverage.
So I don't know. I know the insurance. I had to ask for more this year.
It was moved to lit.
They moved it to lead,
We have 262.
but we're gonna put everything back and let council decide to move them.
So it's gone up 58,000, you think? Because it looks like your 2020 approved was, well, that was 2020, okay, so they would have went up 2021 already.
I just know last year, or this year, I had to ask for more money because expenses on our insurance did go up.
And his HR attorney, as far as we know, is gonna charge the same, paying the same?
As far as I know.
As far as we know. Can you tell me about state institutions again?
If probation, juvenile sends them, and it's not covered by DCS, then we have to pay it.
would there be more than, so we have state institutions here, it's 3-20, and then under lit ed, it was 305. Does that make a difference? Why would that
Are you looking at last year's? 21?
be 21? So it's a state institutions fund 03401, 0305, but here it's,
It's in the commissioner's budget, but when the council moves it, that's one of the things they can move.
would, so is there a state institution line in each fund?
Right now, it's not in yours. They moved it to it.
So as far as numbering wise, is 320 correct?
In your fund, it's correct, but 320 is not universal for that.
Okay.
320 is just, in yours, it's 320.
So that 115 is a guess because we may use some, a little, none, all of it for the state institution.
I think I just used it for what you had the year before, I don't know.
What about maintenance on computers? Does that need to be in?
That'll have to be increased because you guys signed a higher contract, and with the health department not giving 11,000 whatever, you'll need more help. I mean, you'll need more,
At least 11,000 more.
because they didn't do $11,500.
Well,
And then you signed a contract for $25,785, so we'll have at least one more payment of that. And I don't know what you're gonna do with the computers next year or starting in December. Because that contract starts in December.
I mean, should we do like 135,000 for, to be safe? Because the prices went up considerably, it will probably go up again, plus we're taking on the health department.
Wouldn't hurt.
I think it sounds like a fair number.
What did you say?
135. So on this ordinance violation, I think I emailed you, but I know I did it this weekend, you wouldn't have had time to look at it, probably. So, I don't recall, where did we come up with $40,000? Why did we start with that amount? And
Fred, do you remember?
I think that 40,000 was because of the situation on,
We had to clean up.
We had to clean up, yeah.
with 400 doors, is that?
Um,
I mean, it's all 400 doors.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And we set it for that amount, because we thought we might need it, and it ended up that we didn't. Is there a reason that we would keep $40,000 in an ordinance violation?
Because if we had another situation like that one, we would use all of it.
Yeah,
Oh, we got lucky on that one.
we
It
did,
worked out.
we did get lucky on that one. How often do those happen?
And we might not spend the time of it.
It was there because, and then through our ordinance enforcement, we can then replenish that same fund
Right.
on anything we collect. Otherwise, you'd have to move it over to do the cleanup.
We'll just leave it there.
Do you think we should?
I think there's a good chance we won't use it, but I think we should leave it there.
It's my thought was to cut it somewhat, because I guess it would be more reasonable and possible that we would use it at a smaller amount. 40,000 would be pretty expensive.
That would be a situation like we had there, that we might have to raise the building and just
dispose of all the trash that was in it. So, but I think I'd rather be on the side of leaving the 40 and being prepared if that comes across the plate than remove it. Have to approach it when we get there.
I hate to have a high budget item though, and the county gets pinched and they're thinking, oh, well, we're gonna cut something else.
Well, what you could do is leave it on here and the day of your budget, which is gonna be August 9th, you could tell them that's something that they could cut if they need to.
You okay with that?
That's fair.
Because that would be out of the other things that we have in our items.
I agree, there's a good chance we can use it, but
As soon as you say
I
that.
hate to remove it and then need it.
You'll get one tomorrow.
And there's,
Well, this could be for
there's
lawn
plenty more out
mowing, this could be for anything like, right?
The way I understood it, that's the way you got set up, was for any ordinance violation, period. That's why it was set up for ordinance violations.
Cause that could be buildings, land.
So employee assistance, we had 4 this year. Did Mark, you give us an idea of what?
I have 4,000, but we average, right now, we're averaging $333.33 per month, which means you don't have enough in there. Cause if you look,
We should be really.
this is, if you average 4,000 by 12 months is this, look here, you're spending more, you're spending more, you're spending more, you're spending more. So it's gonna need money,
We're gonna be $100 short.
probably.
you say 333.33?
That's what you're doing now, averaging.
That's what we have budgeted, but we're spending more than.
But you're spending, because I got 338, I got 336, 4 times, I mean, the more
I
employees you have, the more we have to pay.
Gotcha. So, we probably need to put a little bit more in there. We
At
could go
$4 a month,
We could go to 4,000 if we had 340 times 12. That's only $5 a month, really.
Because
Oh,
it goes by your number of employees.
4,800 or 4,080. So we could go to like 4,100.
but we'll have a new probation officer, we're gonna have a new,
You just create one today.
right, so each of those people, it's only a couple bucks a month, but
But it adds up.
$4,500, $4,600, something. Let's do $4,700 there, then hopefully that'll cover it. Adult Protective Services, we talked about that last week. Examination of records, Maximus.
Examination of records. We pay for everybody in the county, every taxing unit in the county to be audited, and then they pay us back during settlement time. Their rates have went up significantly. They're auditing us right now. The only one we really need to cover is our own. But I think that is gonna be a low number.
How low? Right now it's 36. I mean, it's 40 a good number.
I don't know,
50.
but.
Well, they charge you per day that they're doing
And
it,
there's
so,
3 of them sitting over there right now.
so if they take no time, or they say for the next 2 weeks.
Well, she said she'd they'll probably, in our entrance, they said they'd probably be here till mid-August, maybe late August, depending on how many are here and how long and how fast. If departments get their stuff to them quickly and they can go, if they're sitting here waiting, you know. But people have been bringing stuff in, that room's kind of full of letters. It's still 20 or 30 days at $300 a day or whatever it is. It's 3 something a day.
Is that per person? 900 a day.
So it's expensive, but
Well, I'd say
I just wanted you to be aware.
I mean, even at $1,000 a day for 20 days, that was 120,000.
right. I know, I was thinking, you know, right now we're at about 1,200 a day. So they take 20, 30 days. You know, 1,200, that's 36. So if we went up to 40, we should be able to, because that's what it is now, it's 36.
I said, we do pay for everybody else's out of that line, but then as settlement comes, we can recoup it, so it's not like out their money, we're just out their money until the next settlement.
So what were you thinking, 43?
I had said 40, but
40? Because, well, I mean, we don't know how long they're gonna be here.
we don't.
But
Or if they'll even show up next year.
this year, they're doing 2 years. Next year, hopefully they'll be back to every year. It goes faster.
40,000, we can try that. I'm fine with that.
Use it.
Well, it's not even, I mean, it's not like one of those line items that you can spend it if you want to. You're only gonna spend it if you have to.
Right. Change of venue is always the same, even though we rarely use it. Maximus. Those are about the same.
So what's the difference between dog pound and animal disposal? Isn't dog pound just like it's always been there?
It's a placeholder.
It might be a statute thing, kind of like brucellosis.
I believe it is a statute thing. I think we had this discussion last year that we had to have it.
Kind of like brucellosis, you have to have it, so you just leave.
It's subdivision review, $1,000. Do we need more than $1,000 in that? Or do we need anything in it?
We didn't use it.
My thing is if we decide to update or upgrade, add more, grades review, things like that, I guess I don't know, maybe you're under contract, use with, whatever we use, but if we have to bring somebody else in to review, if a consultant come in to help, something like that, maybe. I do want to.
That line item is not big enough.
Those things are inconsequential.
Yeah, I do see us, in the way the county's growing, which is a good thing, we're gonna have to update and upgrade our subdivision ordinance. I think it needs to come personally. That's a topic for a different day, but I'm just saying, a little bit of money in there is probably not a bad thing. That's only $1,000.
Things can be
Promotional fund's been holding up.
so far. The checkbook. There is $50 just holding it open right now. There's no checks. I either buy checks or we closed it, but during when we do the Jeans for a Cause, we do use it. So, I mean,
The commissioner's golf?
yes,
checkbook,
it's sitting
use
there.
the jeans for it?
Well, we put the money in it so we can write it out to the charities. Because we can't put it through our county funds. It goes through that. Because it's a charitable fund.
That's allowable?
I'm okay with that.
So it's either I buy more checks.
But that's the OA's okay with it. And we're not,
Yeah, I would
It's not
say,
county funds.
and it's not.
It's not.
okay.
So, I mean, I just held money in there because if I have to buy checks, they're like $20-some.
I was gonna say, if we were gonna close it, we would just pay the $50 to the plaque making people and for one of our awards.
Right,
You need
but-
it open for this other
But as
program.
like we do the jeans, or if we do anything, donations come in, we have to be able to put them in the
Disperse
account and then disperse it. And I talked to them about maybe changing it from the golf scramble name to just Jean Day or something, but then they have to close the account, open the account, and set all that up again. I don't know.
If you'll double check with the state, if they're still good with this, doing it that way, I'm fine with it. I think it sounds unusual, but if they're still good with us doing it that way, I'm fine with leaving it open and
It's for
if you need to buy checks.
for local charities, so it's not,
Department head meeting. People ask me about when we're gonna have the next one.
And, trying to think, we do those quarterly.
I'm gonna have the last one out at the fairgrounds.
I did that one.
Oh,
I
you
think
did
I'm
one?
up next,
He did one, then you did one.
Yeah. Lucky me.
So I don't even remember what month that was, it didn't seem too long ago.
April, May? March.
I department had a meeting in the last 15 minutes.
Well, I guess the question is, do you want to try having them here again?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we had it on April 14th. So does that make the next one? July.
July or August?
Almost have to be August.
Yeah.
Make it on Monday. I don't have as much for me.
Well, that leaves one Monday.
Okay. Which one is that?
August 9th is the budget meetings. You guys meet,
Don't we usually have them on Wednesdays?
yeah, they're usually Wednesday mornings at 8 o'clock.
So what was it, the second Wednesday of,
Something like
I
that.
think that's how they normally did it. Can you make that happen or not?
What's that? Which one?
The second Wednesday, whatever that would
The
be,
11th. I can,
11th?
I'll do my best.
August 11th?
Mm-hmm.
7 a.m. Is that when we typically have?
8.
8. I'm an early bird.
I don't think I have any other business other than, do you think we need to, should we ask Greg to do a secondary resolution, for SWIDAC for the ready grant purposes?
I don't remember.
Remember, we were talking about the Region 15 earlier?
Oh, yeah.
No, you don't.
So it would allow them to.
I don't know. I still don't understand. Do you understand how that all
I
works?
can briefly just let, they've already gone forward, SWIDAC hasn't created their own, in that, Region 15's understanding is now that you can do a primary election and then a secondary election. Which would allow us to be a secondary in that one.
That's,
Excuse me, the first I heard of it was this morning.
from what she said this morning, it sounds like it could only benefit us and there's really no drawback.
Right.
So I don't see any reason not to.
I can prepare one.
Okay.
What is that then? Like, you're going to another group?
For that ready grant, will be a primary with ROI and a secondary with SWIDAC.
Did you go do one?
I guess Lisa was explaining this morning, I guess you can do a primary or a secondary. And they listed us as a secondary member in SWIDAC. So,
So that's the other
We
group
would
down
have to-
here?
yeah.
So we're up here and we're down here?
That's our primary, is ROI. I would say I totally understand why.
Those elections were made, I mean, last week, I believe. They were filed with IEDC.
Oh, so they listed us and we didn't.
Anybody else have any business?
I do not.
So we will end the meeting. Still going out to. I guess they'll be okay with that.